hospitals in Siaya, are they equipped with medics? Why are some medics outside? Why are they not employed? Where is the money for free primary education? Kids have not gone to school the whole year. So we saved billions of money. Where did the money go? Where is the money for subsidized secondary education? Where is the money for lack of transport for our big people who like moving everywhere?
Per diem.
Per diem. The whole year, no one has traveled out of the country. The MPs have been around. We've saved too much money in the government. Our president just went out the other day for the first time the whole year. Okay?
He's gone twice. He was in France and then Italy the other day.
That's what I'm saying, just the other day. So even State House saved money. Where is that money? So where can't we channel that money back to the health sector? Support. I'm actually saying support the health sector. Don't give them money, support them then.
Support the health sector.
Then after all that is done, watu warudi kwa ile inaitwa nini, when you put off your phone, you go to factory setting. Then we start asking ourselves, do we have to live this way? Because some guy, I wanted to use a bad word, I'm sorry. Some guy is saying that a helicopter yeko waendewe. But I want to tell you, bro, when you go up, what happens to the pressure? The pressure increases. You cannot breathe well. When you go down in the water, what happened to pressure? Again. So the guy is saying that waelektewa helicopter yende naye juu, sindio? Na akona pneumonia, hezi pumua, chest imeblock. That person who is gasping for air. Air is better when I'm here than when I go up.
They were looking for a medical helicopter.
Medical helicopter. They should, now this is where MPs now are failing. Where were you? You should have passed laws and everything to equip hospitals. Right now you want helicopters. How I wish there would be no Nairobi hospital today. Tujipange kwa clinics huku chini.
Hold that thought. Do you see the imbalance probably in the society we live in, where you have NHIF covering some and not the others?
Yes.
We have lost over 20 doctors in 1 month, and not actually, when you add up to the number of other health workers.
Actually, the number is 36. 10 doctors and the other number are nurses.
All right. So 10 doctors and the other number nurses. You have MPs advocating for evacuation by helicopters. And you also have a political process we are calling BBI.
Well, let me take you back to 1963. At the independence government, when they came into office, some of the things that they highlighted that they wanted to eradicate, that is poverty, corruption, and disease. Because they knew that with a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. Fast forward to the 21st century, where the COVID-19 is ravaging and affecting the entire globe. The government has, by and large, put in place some measures to ensure that we go strongly through this pandemic. And it's unfortunate that even during the pandemic, we had doctors, for example, in Kiambu, who were in the streets. And we know that doctors are first line of defense. The other day we noted that UHC, the pilot project that was started by the president in, I think, 4 constituencies, four counties, that is Nyeri, Kisumu, Machakos, and I think there were 3.
Yes.
Now people cannot access healthcare under UHC. And we know that COVID is affecting people with underlying diseases. So what happens when an old man somewhere in Nyeri goes to a hospital wanting maybe to get some treatment, and he has diabetes and he can't access treatment simply because the UHC program has been abolished, and now he has to protect himself against COVID. Again, doctors the KMPDU has given a 21-day notice for a strike, a strike notice. Where are we as a nation? Why are we getting, what are we doing? Instead of now trying to cover this rising numbers which have exponentially gone up, the government is, I don't know, even in a big mess. And the faster the government rises and tries to avert this crisis, I see ourselves in a deep problem in the near future. Because if the doctors go on strike, and they are our first line of defense, where do you leave Kenyans?
21 days is too many days. Why were they given 21?
You'd want 7?
1 week. Let me ask you,
but
James
I don't think,
Nyekal,
sorry, bro.
James Nyekal is crying as what?
And he's a medical doctor.
Listen,
Member
James
of Parliament.
Nyekal,
Medical doctor.
just listen. James Nyekal was a medical student before he became a medical doctor. Then he started all the way below as an MO. He knew the sufferings of all these things. He was in 2010 Constitution, he was a member of the Committee of Health. What did he say, or what did he contribute about? He became an MP and has been in 2 terms as a member of Parliamentary Select Committee for Health. What has he done? He's a member of KMPDB board.
The board.
Not union, the board. What has he done? He was the director of medical services, which means he was the Sonko of Masonko, Mama Daktari. What did he do? Okay? Why would Nyekal cry? I would slap him.
You would slap.
I would slap him.
Maybe you should say something about
Why is he crying? It's like a mother is crying ati juu hajapatia mtoto wake chakula na chakula iko pale. Nyekal's function as a medic there was kutetea madaktari na manases na everyone, because now you're a medic, you're not a doctor.
So
there.
you think those are crocodile tears?
He should not cry.
Okay. What
We have been told that treatment of COVID is very expensive, and that is maybe why NHIF is being exempted from benefiting COVID cases. But where have all the donations we have received going to?
Now, how expensive is it?
I'm not. That is what they have been trying to say.
300,000.
It's assumed by the time you recover 300,000.
300,000.
Yes.
Okay. A policeman has gone to fight in Somali. Akalipukiwa na grenade. Akaletwa Kenya. By the time you manage the bone broken, the tissue that need plastic, wound care, and many other things, and even nerve conduction and all this person may need 2-point-something million. Unanyima jamaa. And how many people are going through the hospital who need 300,000?
Very few.
Very few.
Very few.
Many of us are actually asymptomatic. Mbona unanyima wale wana need hewa? Actually, what you're doing here, the biggest cover here is the hospital bed per day plus oxygen.
Right.
Do you know we are not giving Kenyans oxygen which they need? Which drug is given? Can somebody tell me ni dawa gani mtu anapewa akiwa kwa hospitali ya COVID? Which drug? Remdesivir if necessary, but not everyone. So unanyima mtu oxygen. To be honest, NHIF unanyima mtu oxygen. Ni hewa tu mtu ana need, akikohoanga, akipewa dawa ya maumivu, Panadol, paracetamol, nothing else.
Maina Kamunya, it appears that this is a moral question, as it were, and perhaps that's why you've had people talk about priority. The moral question here is NHIF is not covering COVID patients. Doctors are crying there are no PPEs, and then the government, be it as it may, is busy trying to organize machinani groupings for BBI.
Okay, thank you, JJ. And allow me to first of all say that I don't have the benefit of all that information my brother, who is a medic, have. But allow me to say that we started very well fighting COVID in March, very well. And the response from Kenyans was very, very, very good. We responded carefully and critically from what the CS was telling us. But along the way, I think Kenyans got tired. Kenyans forgot that we are in a pandemic. And you see, the second wave have come with so much that we didn't expect, both from the government, from the hospitals. But I think from where I sit, NHIF or NHIF have a mandate to secure Kenyans. Because as you said before, it's a statutory deduction, and it's mandatory for you to pay that. So I don't see any reason that the government would deny a person that financing to ensure that guys get the requirement, the required health care.
Their private colleagues have also
but you see,
refused to cover COVID patients.
But you see, on the other hand, I can understand the constraint that the hospitals are going through. You see, I think from around 1 month ago, 3 weeks ago, there was an announcement that you cannot find an empty bed. Just you can't find an empty bed. So if you get COVID and you need oxygen, where would you get this oxygen from? The government may be willing to assist you, but the beds are full. The hospital capacities are full. So what happens next? You get the point? So what I'm saying is, I think the government should try as much as it can, because from where I sit, from what I'm hearing from the medics, this situation may go on up to December. So the question would be, how much more should the government
It's going to
do?
go past December.
It must go
next year.
You see, so how much prepared is the government to ensure that as people get these diseases, they are able to access healthcare, because it's mandatory and it's a requirement. It's a basic requirement for Kenyans. So I think from where I sit, I would request that let what need to be done by government. If the NHIF is there to cater for Kenyans, let it be so that Kenyans stop suffering. The second thing, the country will not stand still because there's COVID. Yes, let us understand that. Governments need money to finance this NHIF and whatever. If Kenyans are not working, they will not be able to raise that money for NHIF. So when you're saying that the government is mobilizing people for the BBI and whatever, things will have to move on. Yes, the government have to continue running because we still need taxes. But what should be in our mind is that we need to carry on the business of the day, preparing and protecting ourselves from the COVID.
What is the priority?
Priority is the government have a mandate to ensure the government keep running. The
government has a mandate to ensure the government. What are you saying?
Just a minute. I'm saying this. The government must ensure that its business continue running. People have to work. We don't have the privilege of shutting down the country, the economy. We can't. So people must continue doing the business. People must continue investing. Politics must go on. We need the change in come 2022. Just allow me to make my point. You see, but we have to ensure that whatever we are doing, we have seen countries who have conducted elections during COVID. US is one. Brazil is conducting one. Tanzania did already have done theirs during COVID. So what I'm saying is, it's just a matter of balancing. You have to balance lives. You have to balance the political agenda. But you have to do this, ensuring that Kenyans are protected. Because you will not be the first country.
One of the countries you're referring to already has a vaccine that is 98% working. Also, how far are we in terms of getting a vaccine ourselves?
Congratulations to them, but you compare them to us. We are told from the word go that Kenyans we are advantaged because we have a young population. And I agree with that. Look at Africa.
Who told you that?
It's true. We have the youngest population.
Who told you that?
Statistics. 66% of the Kenyans are young people.
Is that an empirical data that we are protected from, or we are better off in terms of?
I think the head of Department of COVID, this madam from KU, from Kenya, University of Nairobi. I'm forgetting the name, and she talked during the conference. She told us that, you see, the one of the benefit that Africa is enjoying is that we have young people who have.
That's not empirical.
Just a minute.
I'm asking, it's Dr. Ochieng.
Already.
The lady from Kenyatta National Hospital.
Yes, who is head of infectious
disease.
Exactly, that lady. And she told us, and I remember hearing from her, that, you know, if you are young, you have a better immune to fight. The reason why Italy had to suffer the way it suffered, because they have the oldest population. And I agree, Africa, from where all this far we have come, most have not died as you can't compare Africa with other nations in the world. You get the point? Even if they have COVID, if they are developing vaccine, they have died more than us.
I'm not going to press you on that point because I'm not a medic, but the empirical data provided by WHO does not support your argument.
No, I don't want to make this point because you have referred to the WHO. The same WHO had said that by the time I think there are 2 months to whatever, Africa will die. 4 million people will have died in Africa. How many have died? So you can't trust in them because they work on their mathematics. Just a minute, Daktari. They do what we call presumption. Yes, they presume, they target.
You cannot say presumption.
I'm saying, get my point. I'm saying they do their job. You target people, they estimate people die to this extent. But it's not true. It's not always true. People have not died to that extent.
Eric Regalo, you're in a better place to respond to him.
What I want to tell my friend is, data collection in Kenya is very poor. I worked in the government, in the Ministry of Health as a medic, and data collection in our systems are not okay. And by the time we knew we had COVID, can you tell me that we didn't have it before? We had COVID. What happened is we had a first COVID case, not a first COVID patient. First COVID case. So one COVID case means what? When you do polio vaccination and you're told you have one polio case in Kenya, already that is a pandemic in Kenya. One polio case makes us do vaccination of all kids in the whole country. That because of one polio case. Meaning one case is 1:a certain number. Okay? And even if when they are doing their statistic today, they are telling you one case representation of a certain number. So when you had one polio case, why did you think the government ilishtuka? Because they knew this one case is what we've met. What about others that fizzled?
Yes.
So how sure are you that we are not at 4 million in Africa? Africa is now Sudan. Give you another example. Good example, Sudan. Sudan took too long to understand they even have COVID. It's because we have erratic governments.
And our neighbors to the south claim
look at Uganda right now.
Yeah.
Tanzania. So how do you manufacture data if your data collection is bad? So what UN was telling us is they are presuming the virulence of this disease. By this time, Africa could have suffered this much. They are looking at economy, basic where they live, how they interact, and they know this could be the number. Let's not
think about
dispute.
it. The projections by Dr. What is the name? The director of Director General.
Yes, I remember when you
Yes,
said by
the
April
projections
we
in
were at
September
100.
are actually correct.
Yes.
The projections the government had in terms of infections this September, and I think they have already surpassed even the number.
So what I want to assist the government with is that we gave money to counties to offer space for patients, and there are counties that really failed. And what I think and government should have done, and that is where the government has failed, is that they've left in the BBI to be coerced by the governors. What medics requested for in one, employment, and some of these issues, BBI, they gave their thoughts on how to manage health, which the government just decided not to put. Yes, this was not for the doctor. This was not for the nurse. This was for the patient. They refused just because the governors felt the powers will go to employ medics and what have you. Now, one day, one time, I look at a scenario where the government will be forced to do it. Going forward,
what is the priority?
What would have done? The priority now. Yes. Let's close Uhuru Park. Or let me give you a good example. Let's close Kasarani, the stadium. Close it, roof it up, close it, oxygenate it, put people there. They're already sick. Don't distance them. Just put someone here and here and here. Pump oxygen. Many of these people, they are dying because of lack of oxygen. Let's be honest. The lungs are in trouble, are collapsing. Why are the lungs collapsing? Because the lungs, the body is actually getting acidic, and that's why the body is collapsing. So you give oxygen, the body is able to manufacture itself. As it suffers, it regenerates. You remember meiosis and mitosis. So the big deal here is oxygen. Let's not talk about hospitali zimeja. Hospitali hazijaja. We can make hospitals. Yes. You see the dome that I normally see MPs meeting? When they have a very good ceremony, they have a very big dome of tent. Why don't we have such? And put patients there. Take all these medics, give them a locum job for 3 months or 4 months. Pay them well. Right. They will do the job. Right. Brother, and I'll honestly look at this camera and say, it has come to a point I'm the biggest proponent and one of the best people who campaign for BBI. But look at the thing coming, I may not vote BBI in. Okay. Because I'm hurt. You're hurt by the way things are going. Yes. I'm not going to vote BBI. And I'm saying it facing the camera. Trust you me. I don't look at the fact where you should bring money to Mashinani. Money to who? The people who will be dead. All right. It's an interesting argument peddled by Maina Kamunya that there are three balls the government appears to be juggling. There's COVID-19, there's economy, and then the political process that is BBI. Are they supposed to be three balls the government is juggling when you have a pandemic that is almost crippling the entire country?
Well, at the moment, what I think the government should do is channel all the resources and attention to fighting this pandemic. Because, let me even go back to what he alluded to about the US. The reason why we see the US as one of the worst hit countries, in fact, it's the worst hit country in the world, is because one, Trump initially saw this virus as a hoax. He didn't believe it existed, and he even termed it and called it a Chinese virus. Two, the testing capacity of the US cannot be compared to ours.
Even
the numbers being
even the medical facilities.
Yes, the facilities and the testing capabilities are far much higher than ours. It's in the recent past we have seen the CS for Health, Kagwe, claim that we are deficient of testing reagents. That is why we're seeing our numbers are not that big. But I will tell you for free, I'm not a medic, but if we tested the entire 47 million million Kenyans,
Yes.
I will tell you for free, close to 10 million of us are COVID positive.
And close to 5 million have close to 20 million wamepona.
Yeah.
So now they have the antibodies.
True.
So now if you want to test now, go for the antibodies.
Yes.
The whole country is almost getting antibodies right now.
Okay.
Trust me, we are in trouble.
So what the government should do in relation to your question, let us channel all our resources and attention to fighting COVID, because at the end of the day, we need people to be here around and enjoy the benefits of BBI. So first and foremost, all these resources, that is 14 billion that is being budgeted for the referendum, let us channel all these resources to fighting this pandemic.
I saw Mutaika Gomaina Kamunya on Wednesday night say PPEs are available. I think I heard him simply say, probably they ask for these things, they will be available. He says they're at KEMSA warehouses. In fact, I almost heard him claiming they're in their excess. One would ask, is he then saying that the concerns by medics in our hospitals are illegitimate, or if they exist then in the warehouses, what are they doing in warehouses when they should be helping our medics?
But you see, the major concern about the medics from what I'm getting is they want an insurance cover. You get the point? You have a soldier here.
So they have PPEs. What now they want is
if what Mutaika is saying is right, because I have not heard most of them complain about PPEs. What I'm hearing from them complain is about.
Is that true, Raila?
Most of them do not complain.
Let him talk, because I'm
of,
wondering.
Okay. Most of what I'm hearing them from, they are talking about the medical cover. That cover. That's because
I think you made reference to KMPDU at some point, right?
Yeah,
Their Secretary General Mwachonda. What has been he saying the last 2 weeks?
Mwachonda got COVID. Did you know Mwachonda was sick of COVID? And
What has he been saying
got
this last
healed,
2 weeks?
So how did Mwachonda get COVID?
But you see, then if that is the case, it means that their claims, their demand are divided, because there are those who are claiming, first of all, give us the cover. Because
No, it is one claim. Hold on, so that you don't confuse us.
I'm not
The
confusing
claim
anyone.
is one. They want PPE and they want protection through covers. I don't know why you want to amplify one and lessen the other. Unless you're holding 14 for government.
No.
Are you,
If Mutahi,
are you representing government here?
No, I'm not. I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm going by the fact of what the CSC said. If the PPEs are there, then the other claim that need to be met is about the covers. Because from what I heard from this guy from NHI, AMREF, I'm forgetting the name of that guy.
Dr. Kitahi?
Yes. There's a time he was at one of the local stations, and he was saying that what they need most is the cover. Because you see, you are a doctor, you have saved maybe around 800,000 from what you have been working on.
Don't say a doctor, say medical profession.
Medical profession.
Everyone is important there.
Okay, you see, you have saved your cash. Then all of a sudden, in your line of duty, you get COVID. So all that money goes to the treatment.
I asked you a specific question, and you took me to the cover, which is also something that the doctors are asking for. Minister Mutahi Kagwe insists the PPEs are available. Why then are doctors asking for PPEs if they are available?
Don't you want to tell me that there are no internal mechanism to ensure that the claims or the demand from the medics are met? From the Ministry
Isn't
of
that the
Health?
question I'm asking you?
You
Why
see,
do you want to...
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
No matter how much you can talk here, it's about their internal mechanism of solving these issues.
Then should the medics
doctors are
so
supposed-
should
No,
the-
I'm saying if the claims coming from a Minister of Health and the one mandated the leadership of that ministry is the CS, and he says there are PPs there, then it tells you that these medics, through their channel of leadership, must ensure that they get the PPs. If they are not there,
What you're simply telling us...
I'm saying...
Maina Kamunya,
just
Maina Kamunya, hold on a minute. What you're simply telling us is, You believe what the CS said as a matter of fact.
What normally
What I'm
happens?
saying, no, what I'm saying is, if Mutahi Kagwe say that they are PPEs,
So they are there.
then the medics should come out, should go to where they are stored. If they are not there, then tell us they are not there.
What I would
Tell us
tell
the CS is lying.
What I will tell Kamunya is that sometime you would find gloves are out of stock. The normal gloves, it has been out of stock many times in many hospitals, government hospitals. So what normally happens? You have two departments. The medical department, the subordinate department, that is the second department, then you have the procurement
Yes, that is it.
So the medical department, there is no day they will tell the procurement we need PPEs. The procurement look at their usage. They say, they look at the usage, we are using 10 per day. By tomorrow we'll be having none.
You're talking about requisition.
They should requisite. We are not supposed to ask. Please. When somebody is asking, then there is a problem. There is no way a doctor should be asking for PPEs or a nurse.
But you see,
the procurement so if procurement is talking with the procurement in KEMSA, and there's somewhere the PPEs are not coming, that is when you're finding a medical doctor talking. By then, do you know who is supposed to be saying there are no PPEs?
The KEMSA.
It's the procurement officer in
That
the
is it.
hospital. Not medics. So when the medic is saying there's no PPE, so anaongea because yeye ndiye ako kwa risk. The procurement, there is no day atapata COVID akiwa amekaa pale kwa computer ana make requisitions ama nini ana balance hii hesabu yake ya procurement.
In fact, there's something I needed clarity for from Maina Kamunya. Because you say if the CS says the PPEs are there, then it's the work of the doctors to go ask for them.
No, it's not our work.
No. Who should requisition? Hold on a minute.
Get my point.
Who should requisition? Sometimes we're struggling to get your point. Who should requisition for these things?
KEMSA.
Is the procurement department of both KEMSA and the users. You understand? Us, when we are using, we order Leo ward fulani. Let me give you an example. If I'm going to Meru ward,
just a minute. When the CS is saying that, you see, when the CS is saying that these gadgets are there, and the medics are saying they are not there, so who should we trust?
Is our CS a politician?
So you are bringing in politics.
Thank you. It could be.
And then why don't you think it will be politics from the doctors?
The doctors are playing politics.
You see,
is Mwachonda standing for anything?
What I'm saying is, let us be genuine. If the CS is saying that there are these things, gadgets there,
according to you,
then
Maina Kamunya, there's something I want to
I'm sure in any department,
who should we believe?
I'm saying this, in any department of the government, there's that person who can be able to get in and come up with the clean information.
Who should we believe? When doctors say there are no PPEs and the CS says there are PPEs, who should we believe?
What should be happening is this way.
Well, allow
me to answer the question.
I want you to answer, who should we believe? Is it the CS or the doctors?
The internal mechanism that deals with them.
Which is this internal mechanism?
They have the leadership in the whatever.
According to the data you have, you know we have lost doctors, right?
Of course, yes. But we have also lost politicians. Another Kenyans. So not only doctors. You get the point? What you are saying is, don't sympathize with one department. Kenyans are dying. That's a fact. So when the doctors are saying that we need covers, Kenyans don't need covers. They are Kenyans.
So that is why doctors they don't want to die, so that they are alive for you.
Yes.
Are you
That's what saying.
this?
That's what saying.
So if they don't
line of defense,
are the doctors, and I agree with you that they need.
So do you know why Kenyans are dying? Because
the
doctors are afraid. Nurses are afraid.
That's
do you know
correct.
how many nurses have died?
That's what I'm saying.
If the nurses and the doctors are afraid, then why not Kenyans die?
And that's what I'm saying.
And when
they
the
need
doctors if they are saying, for us to, if we get sick, because this is dangerous for us now. If we, I'm giving them just a second. If we get what they are saying by the cover, they are saying the cover is saying like this, and this is what the cover is saying. If I get sick, because now I'm in the war, if I get sick now, I need a good cover that I will be taken care of very fast to come back and work. That is what the cover is saying.
Hold on a minute.
Have the government
done cover? What you're losing costs. Eric Ragalo,
I'm answering
I
him.
asked,
I'm kindly answering him. I'm telling Maina Atuna cover.
I asked Maina Kamunya a very simple question. The CS says there are no PPEs. Doctors say there are no PPEs. And I ask you, who should we believe?
And I said, I believe
you talked about an internal mechanism.
Of course, yes.
And I asked you which internal mechanism.
That procurement department should be able to tell us the truth. in the ministry. Tell us whether there are those equipment there. Because doctors will say one thing, the CS will say another thing.
How many times has KEMSA been mentioned in scandalous issues since COVID came?
There are so many.
Even today's PD.
Right?
Uh-huh.
The PS Ministry of Health is still answering to some of those things, including irregular procurement, sometimes even leading to loss. And now you're saying with authority, we can believe what the ministry is saying through KEMSA.
So that justifies your unbelief that those things could exist. So that's what you want to tell me? Yeah. That because there have been scandals in the KEMSA, then it forms the basis of your unbelief that just a minute, that whatever the CS is telling us is not true. We need the procurement department to tell us the truth. An independent body from the CS, from the doctors.
There's a simple thing. I hope this doesn't sound like a back and forth. There are over 36 medical service workers who are dead.
Sure.
The cracks of it, lack of PPEs. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am aware.
That is the point where you shouted even other Kenyans are dying. I didn't realize other Kenyans needed PPEs.
But you see, JJ.
Hold on a minute. There are 36 health workers who have died, cracks of them, because of the lack of PPEs. And I return to the basic question I asked you. If these PPEs are available, why are they not availed then to the medics?
I'll ask you a question.
Don't ask me a question.
Okay, when there was claims that the donation from China from Jack Ma was stolen, we still had COVID, right? So how many doctors were dying by then, because of the PPEs? I remember at that time there's a body that was formed, and it was mandated to ensure that we locally manufacture PPEs, and they were manufactured.
You're talking about the emergency response team.
Yes, and I saw those PPEs being given to doctors. You get the point? Today I saw the head of I think the Department of Equity in Nyandarua giving the same PPEs and whatever, a mask on or whatever. So what is this that is so much hidden from the KEMSA in the KEMSA or in the Ministry of Health, that this one person talks from this side and that talks from that from the other side? So
doctors are playing politics?
No, it's not about politics. I'm saying there may be, as long as there may be genuine concern about the medics dying, and it's true they are dying. You get the point? There may be some internal wars inside that ministry. And we
between who and who?
Maybe procurement and the CS.
That are costing doctors' lives.
That's what I'm saying.
And I have asked you though. So, and this is the same question
I was asking.
No.
Yes.
This is the question I was asking you. You're saying, hold on a minute. You're saying.
Kamunya is now saying what I wanted to hear.
No.
You're saying, don't make a self-defeatist argument. You're saying there must be a problem internally.
Which should be solved.
But your admission is true. You are admitting indeed that these doctors are not getting their PPEs. And I had asked you a simple question. If these PPEs, hold on a minute, if these PPEs are available, why aren't doctors getting them? And according to your own submission, probably you have insiders in government, the problem is in the ministry.
But my concern goes to this emergency response body. Because the moment they were manufacturing those PPEs, I think the doctors said they were satisfied by the quality and the quantity. Just a minute.
Actually, you listen to what we said.
Okay, just a minute.
It was a very bad quality.
Okay, it's okay.
I wish you know the quality.
But you see,
when you wear that thing, let me now tell you, it's like you're wearing,
a
former nylon shirt.
I don't mean to make my point. I don't mean to make my point then, because then you come in. So what I'm saying is, I believe whatever Mutahi is saying, and whatever the doctors are saying, both of them may be honest, and they may also be lying to us. You get the point? But I tend to believe the CS.
Okay.
Let me come in.
Have declared
let me say something. My dad was a former administrative officer in a medical hospital. And what happens in any hospital? We have the administrative wing and now the medical wing. The administrative wing is the one that makes sure that all operations of the hospital, that the medics undertake their functions with the facilitation. Maybe they get PPEs through the administrative wing that makes sure that they procure and many other things. What Kamunya is fearing to say is that there's a possibility, and because if medics have come out to say that we need PPEs, and Kago is here saying there are PPEs. What is the problem? How long does it take to get PPEs to hospitals? The possibility that I foresee is that we have PPEs that were said to have been procured.
Yes.
Money was paid, but there are no PPEs.
But the word is possibility.
Then
That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. Let him finish.
There's a possibility because if there are PPEs as the CS says, and here I'm a dick saying we don't have PPEs. How long does it take to get a PPE from KEMSA and deliver it to hospitals? So there's a possibility. There's a scandal in that, and it should be probed.
In fact, one of question there's one of question I would want to throw to Maina Kamunya.
I knew Ajay was
Hold on a minute. Don't take us round in circles.
No.
I asked you a question over 20 minutes ago between doctors and the cabinet secretary. Who should we believe? It has taken you 25 minutes to admit that you believe CS Kagwe more than doctors. And if you had said that, I think we would have dispensed that point.
But you see, what I was saying is, there's a scenario that we may not have PPEs. When KEMSA misused money to even overbuy some stuff, or overuse money to buy stuff more expensive than what they should go for, they were running on a negative. And they were requesting Parliament to look in a way they will get money. Did they get an answer? I've never heard that they were given an injection. So, could it be that what PPEs we are talking about are the same PPEs that were there, and some of them are not wearable? When I say not wearable, my fellow medics know they are not wearable. You sweat inside, and you cannot even breathe when you're wearing those things.
So an ideal PPE should last you for how long before you change it?
You can have a PPE for a long 1 hour, 2 hours, but the one that I know, the nylon one, it's not wearable. And when we talk medics are dying, yesterday we buried in Muranga a man called Maina. He died in Avenue. 2 days ago, we lost a lady of Thika level 5, a nurse. Okay? Today, we've buried Dr. Jackie Njoroge. In Mombasa, I have a colleague of mine, a surgeon who is in hospital. A professor is in hospital in Mata, and many other places guys are in hospital being treated. Okay? And we are raising money and funds to assist our colleagues, not knowing maybe where kesho pia utaenda tu uende ugonjeke.
But is it purely just because of PPEs?
The issue is, now I would be honest with you, PPE is one problem.
Okay.
The second problem is avalanche of patients.
All right.
You find a hospital now has turned out to be an infectious hospital. It's not treating other conditions that they were treating before. But that is happening right now. I have a hospital in Nairobi which was treating everything. Right now, the whole hospital is a COVID hospital. So the avalanche of patients make it one. For you to get really sick of COVID, how much amount of virus have you taken in? You know, there's what we call virulence. So working in that environment of viral load make you, one, susceptible to greater infection than somebody who catches a virus outside there kwa barabara.
So what should we do? Employ more doctors?
So what we should do, and thank you for bringing this issue. That's why I said we need to check employment. That these people work in fewer hours. Watu wanaingia, baada ya masaa kadhaa wanatoka, wengine wanaingia, so that they have time to get out. You find a hospital, patients come in, medics come in the morning, they will leave at 2. You have good 8 hours with the patients with the COVID. The air in that room is COVID air. People are coughing in that room, coughing, so the whole of this place is COVID. You have to wear a PPE for 8 hours. That unwearable thing. So how are you going to survive? You see how people are getting infected. So how are our hospitals built? It's another issue. Some people along the road here, kanyumba alikomboa akaandika St. Mary, wacha nitumia jina ijaitumika, St. Bartholomew Hospital. Your St. Bartholomew Hospital was is a 3-bedroom house. How are the windows made? You see, there is ideal hospital setup. Unaona, those are the things we are working on. So as much as we are saying there are no PPEs, it's also the government failure to check on how we build our building systems. The same thing we find now, the time we were talking about primary schools and schools in boarding, where doors were locked at night and there was a small door for people to live during fire and what have you in the dormitories. They started changing the mode.
Let me ask you a more precise question,
Yes.
and I need a precise answer. Right now, because we may not be able to deconstruct some of these hospitals to prepare more room, what are the immediate needs for medics?
The immediate need for a medic, one, is space to work. I said we can take these patients and form a place and give oxygen there. We decongest hospitals. They are so congested. The other thing that we need so much, kindly the government, remember the politicians have big covers. Everyone have their cover. Surely you can cover teachers. When a medic asks for a cover, it becomes a big issue. Why is it a big issue to cover a medic? Mpatie 1,300 cover. Huko kwingine ajipange. Surely you cover teachers. You give them 2 covers. A medic, they are not as many as teachers. They're asking for a small cover. You refuse
Doesn't
them.
this speak to the power of negotiation that your representatives have?
We negotiated in the BBI. We negotiated all these things. They were put off. BBI ilieka medics as a part of the Health Service Commission is actually a body that is supposed to, one, when the governor wants to get an idea over something, your function ni kwenda kueleza governor. So governor anaweza fanya kitu bila hata kuwajulisha ama kutaka kujua ni nini na function na nyinyi. So when we asked whatever we asked in the BBI, what is there? Can someone just tell us what we asked is there? This is what they asked and this is what they were given.
All right.
And actually the other thing they should know is that some of us may be feeling very bad, but somewhat are finding it, this COVID thing, as a balance of things. This is the time you're finding someone very scared. Even MP is very scared. So you guys have something that scares you. This thing, then we should not have something that will mitigate it. Vaccine may not come today or tomorrow. The COVID vaccine must be under -70, -80 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Do we have a fridge even at the vaccine center that goes to, actually the fridges, they go to -8? Can we go to -70? No.
I'm not sure we can.
No.
Let's spend some time on this conversation about COVID. Probably we can even take up BBI another time, because I'm just thinking about Parliament. When members of Parliament stand to eulogize one of their own and then demand for helicopter evacuation, why must it be that Parliament only arises when it is one of them? And really, when they're inside those chambers, nothing much comes from that chamber when there's a disaster.
Well, it's so selfish of them. Especially, we've seen Kenyans dying of COVID-19 since day one. And every single day we see that the numbers are rising. And Parliament has never sat to see how they can try and help Kenyans out of this mess. But when one of them was affected and he passed on, they are even getting emotional and are even making some outrageous demands that they want a helicopter.
I hear each one of them will have a 10% pay cut end of this.
Everyone is 10,000 per person.
Well, and it's so unfortunate because
amounting to 4-point-something million.
Yeah, to get off.
Then now you are burying someone with 4-point-something million.
it's a sad affair because one members of Parliament come out as some of the best paid public servants in Kenya. So this implies that these people can even afford to attend to their healthcare. On the flip side, we have NHIF excluding COVID patients. So these people are now then coming out claiming that now we need a helicopter, we do ABCD. It's very sad.
You've forgotten something. They have a 10 million
They even have an insurance cover.
Yes, 10M.
It's very sad.
You 10M, bro. 10M.
Let's talk to the government defender in chief.
Hey.
Is Parliament's hands tied? Because, of course, when Minister Mutahi Kagwe says NHIF will not cover, because I think there's a backtracking. Yesterday when they announced civil servant to be covered, initially it was nobody would be covered by NHIF. And when he was saying this, he was talking to the Select Committee on Health. One would expect probably the following day, the Committee on Health and the whole House would have censored the minister.
And that committee, that committee was the crying doctor there.
Yeah, he was.
Why didn't he cry then? Yesterday, why didn't he cry?
Let's ask Maina Kamunya.
I am not feeling good about guys.
Hands tied. That there's nothing they can do to fix things as they are.
I'm not the government defender, but I'm just talking the truth there from my point of view. And Parliament play a very critical role in our nation.
Yes.
As a state department, as one of the organs that form the Kenyan state. And therefore, as things they may stand, they have a right to claim that they need a chopper. One, these are the guys that we depend on to make registrations. These are the guys that whatever happens in our nation must pass through where they sit, in that august house. These are the same guys who carry our interests in the parliament.
Yeah,
remember, there are people's representatives.
Even our burdens.
You see, so they also carry our burdens there. The NHF that we are talking about must come, if it have to be amended, they have to go through the same parliament.
I see, like you want to take a walk. Just listen to him.
Yeah.
You see, it have to go through that. They have to go through the same parliament.
Let him make his point.
They have to go through the same parliament. So anything that have to be done in regard to the response of COVID, they have to go through the parliament. So what if happens if these guys get sick? What if, just a minute,
Hold on,
just
Ragala.
a minute.
Let him make his
What if we find that maybe 3/4 of them are not in the chambers? And more so, maybe the head of those, the health committees, they are not there, they are sick. So what would happen?
The nation would die.
Executive
Okay,
executive order.
no problem.
Yeah, the
I
Kenya
agree.
would stop existing.
I agree. Kenya will not stop existing. But you are saying,
Isn't that what you're trying to tell
I'm
us?
saying, I want you to see with my panelists here the importance of these members of parliament. They are not just ordinary Kenyans.
Guy.
You get the point?
Yeah.
The role they play.
The more reason we should evacuate them immediately.
I'm saying the role they play is so much critical to what happens to us. You get the point? So what I'm saying is, whatever they say that they may need a chopper, I have no problem with that. You get the point?
Guy.
But what you are told, you see, we are depending on what we had there, what they said during a burial of somebody. But are we told that if this chopper have to be kept aside for them, the transport from
First of all, I don't know what you're watching. This was said inside the chambers.
Okay, no
not in a
problem.
burial.
I'm saying this. So if a member of parliament who are saying that, we know they have a cover of 10 million. So if that person will be transported by a chopper, who say that maybe the payment will not be from that 10 million cover? Do you know that? So was it substantiated that whatever if they are flown by the helicopter, that the government will have to cater for that, or it will be the insurance that will cater for that? So what I'm saying is their claim is justified. You get the point?
Have you ever taken an insurance?
I have an NHIF.
NHIF doesn't
If
cover
you
those.
have an NHIF,
you
you don't have an insurance.
What I'm saying,
I'll be honest with you.
Hold on, I was
you.
just trying to hold on. I was just trying to brush you that any insurance cover you take has every specification of what they can do, including the premiums and how much it would.
But they are
so if your insurance
but
does not, hold on a minute.
Uh-huh.
If your insurance doesn't have a helicopter evacuation, if you're evacuated by a helicopter, your insurance will not cover for that.
But you see, I have said here and I said here before, and I will say it, repeat here again. Laws and regulations are made to be adjusted to the situation.
on.
Just a minute, JJ. I work with the Marson Insurance, and I know in every insurance there are exemptions. This comes. Nobody have had thought that shall come to a corona pandemic. Yeah, that's the point. When they are making those policies, nobody have.
First of all, private medical schemes are not even covering COVID.
But I remember, if I'm not wrong from my insurance law, I remember there's something you said. There comes something we call unforeseeable risk. There comes. COVID came, but I've paid my 10 million insurance. So with COVID is there, am I the one around COVID to come?
What is your point?
I'm saying their claim is justified. But let us not brush them. Let us ensure that whatever they are claiming for, they have to be given.
Their claim is justified. Eric Ragala.
MPs are okay. They are good guys because they are people who love their stomach. And what comes out?
But you're
Wouldn't you have wanted the
What
same if
comes
you were
out?
Roiro, if you became
no,
Roiro?
but remind him he's going to be an MP
Hold
in
on a
Roiro.
minute. Hold on a minute.
What comes of it is vomits, and that's what they give us. COVID came in, and when COVID came in, we ran into our bunker to protect ourselves. Do you know the same thing happened just like when Kibaki came in? We all were happy. We wanted Kibaki to rule and help us out of corruption. Then the corruption hit Kibaki government. Thunderbolt, pop, and everybody froze. What happened in Kenya? Walikuwa wanashika hata askari wanampeleka wao wenyewe. They stopped. So we were doing everything possible to make ourselves better and out of COVID. Then what happened? Corruption came in, pop. Then we lost the hope. Then why do we fight? When what we are fighting for, the government is supposed to be one social supporter. They assist us socially to go, but they are the socially stabber. They stab us economically and socially. Then you unatoka hewa. When somebody
Government is amorphous. What do you mean?
What I mean is they are supposed to help you socially and economically as you fight a disease. But they ripping you out. You are being told one arm of the government has gotten corruption scandals in the middle of a war, which is not yet fought, or we've not even started
In
to
fact,
fight
I have
it.
wanted to hear from Maina Kamunya before we make this up, because MPs are justified, and I agree they may be justified because of a position of privilege of being evacuated by choppers. Just hold on a minute. Would you have wanted to hear something more about what Parliament was doing in terms of legislation and policy development?
Yes, other than
would you have, other than the entitlement of a chopper, because they are privileged people, would you have wanted to hear something more?
In fact, were it not for my brother who came in, he would maybe have around to make me my point. I was saying this, and that's why I was headed. I was expecting to hear them debate and talk more about the NHIF for the ordinary mwananchi.
And now that they didn't?
I was making that point, but my brother Eric came in very hard.
And now that they didn't discuss that, you didn't.
I didn't hear them talk by then. I'm expecting that when they resume.
When people are already dying,
you
know, there are things
where my brother, I don't need to make my point.
Yeah.
So MP will be going back to maybe next week. So I'm expecting to hear from them what they think and the proposal they will come with as our representative of what Kenyans need to be done. Of what Kenyans, that enjoyment of NHIF as an insurance cover for ordinary Kenyans.
I don't want to call you a fence sitter, but you say, first of all, you say they are entitled to that. There's something you wanted to hear them say, but they didn't say. But when they come back, hold on a minute.
The problem
when they come back,
but the problem is,
hold on a minute, Maina Kamunya, that when they come back, there's something you want to hear them, or there's something you expect them to do. Should they have even taken that break first? When there's a crisis like this, when NHIF is behaving the way they are behaving, should they even have taken a break in the first place?
Of course, yes.
Or they should have taken the break?
Because you see, they have to evaluate whatever is being said from both sides. You get the point? If you are mandated to make a law, you don't just rush to make a law.
How do you evaluate?
Just a minute. The problem is, you and Eric are not around to make my point. Give me time.
No,
so that,
hold on a minute.
So that you understand.
Just I'm sitting on this chair so that I prod what you're saying. Okay? And you're saying they need to evaluate what is being said by both sides. What kind of evaluation are you talking about?
The doctors are on one side are saying things. Kenyans on the other side are saying things. And the minister on the other side is saying things.
Oh, yeah.
You get the point?
Right.
So these are three very critical prayers in our Ministry of Health. In our health. They are saying different things.
Yes.
So as a person who is interested, and as a person who represents maybe almost all of them, if not, it's all of them. So I have to be keen on whatever I am going to register it to ensure that I cover everybody.
And
you get the point?
Evaluation, according to you, is listening to both sides.
Listen to them, critically analyze whatever they are saying, whether it's true or not.
Yes.
Because even as we are here, both of us, we cannot agree whether it's true or not.
How do you listen to them?
Yes.
How do you listen to them?
Take their demand.
No. Not about their demands, because there's this side, there's this, the other one. How do you listen to them? You call for a meeting with them, but the meeting does not have to be in Parliament. Where does that meeting happen? It does not have to be in Parliament. No, JJ, if Parliament is not the only building that meeting can be held. Let me ask you. People go out. You get the point? because I think you know the answer, but you still want to make us cut around. I'm asking you the evaluation that you talked about, because you used a very good word, evaluation. Where will it happen?
Sit down with those from Minister of Health.
Yes.
Sit with the CES.
And the doctors'
you get
union.
the point. The doctors' union, with the NHIF board, whatever. Sit with them.
The nursing union and all unions.
And all of those unions. Listen to them. Then come up with a registration based on the best interest of all the parties.
And how will that listening come? Will you book an appointment with KMPDU as a member of parliament?
There are so many ways to kill a rat. It's just not about...
There's not so many ways of killing a rat in parliament. There's one procedural issue.
No.
That these things come through committees, select committees. So if you're listening to both sides, these sides will appear before the select. In fact, that is why Dr. Nyikar was crying in one of those committees. And I asked you a very simple question. When there are matters like this, and you're saying they need to prod both sides, should they have taken a break, or should they have listened to other sides first?
But do we know why they took a break?
Come on, that is in the parliamentary calendar.
That is it. So, do you have the calendar of what they'll be doing during the break?
Okay. Kamunya, I'm happy that you soon you'll be in parliament, and
I doubt it will be helpful.
I'll really knock your nose. It's a joke.
No!
It's a joke.
It's only that, Eric, what there is, you have a fixed mind. You only think that things can be done in a particular way, but things do not happen that way.
Okay.
I think I have seen members of parliament in a weekend, in a retreat. I've seen them discuss things, not in parliament. Because what I understand, just a minute, imagine these guys, the hospitals, the union has...
Where did you see them?
Yeah?
Where did you see them? Over a weekend? Doing what?
They went for a BBI retreat.
No, hold on a minute. Doing what?
Evaluation.
Any parliamentary business, for your information, is conducted through the speaker.
Okay,
Yes.
I know.
All right? And if it's not through the calendar, the speaker of the National Assembly or the Senate,
So,
hold on a minute, must allow for that. The point is, even if there's a calendar for them to take a break, it is not once nor twice. They have adjusted their calendar.
Then, okay, very good.
To accommodate
answer me this one.
a national interest.
Answer me this one.
Yes.
We are saying, Mutaika was saying us that there's PPs in the KEMSA. So, will those PPs be brought to parliament? MP have to go to the KEMSA and see whether they are there.
And that can only be
And
done
that's
by
what
the
I'm
Committee
saying.
of Health.
They just need to be, they'll be going to do that. The KEMSA will not come to the parliament.
Probably
So
what you
what
need to understand first is
No,
Well,
I'm saying this.
brother,
I don't need to make my point, Eric. I don't need to make my point, Eric.
Hey, yawa.
I don't need to make my point. Because what you are saying, and I say it here, let us allow us to have a robust discussion.
In fact, as we have a robust conversation, Eric, I know you want to respond to him. Are you aware that the Select Committee on Health has gone to KEMSA warehouses?
I wanted to tell him that.
Are you
Thank
aware?
you, you've done
I'm not
that.
aware of that.
Yeah.
But that
I guess
okay.
I thought so too.
So, the whoever did not come to parliament, so they are the parliamentary that went there
They did.
for
The
an
Select Committee
for an
on Health.
evaluation. For an evaluation.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
But brother, let me put it simple, or to us that we have a problem here, and the problem is coming from the government not wanting to follow the procedures laid down, and these procedures are simple as this. How do we problem solving technique? How do you solve a problem? The problem solving technique has an algorithm how you do problem solving technique. So where did the government lose it? The government lost it here when they did knee-jerk situation, or they erupted when they had COVID is here. That is the time they realized COVID was there. They were not prepared. How would they have been prepared? That is the time they were giving governors money to go and run around, put up structures. When you had COVID is coming, they should have started immediately and should have put even measures immediately that if it reaches this point, this is the way we go. Okay? There are those countries you hear watu ni wagonjwa sana, but they have lesser deaths. Those countries like America, you see like deaths are many, they are lesser than us. Looking at the what? Looking at the number of deaths and the number of infection, then you do the percentage.
But you see.
let me
No.
finish my word.
You see, remember you are coming from
Listen,
let
me finish.
The whole of last year,
I let you
the government
finish.
was
I let you
just
finish.
allow me to make it. That's what
let's
going
hear
on.
him.
The government, we are from an area that our economy was struggling. You get the point? We are fighting rockers and whatever. So how much money do you think we have to cater for all those things?
Okay,
No. Because you are comparing us with other nations. Rwanda was able to shut down the economy. Uganda the same. We couldn't do that.
Let me give you an answer.
You get the point?
Let me give you an answer. Uganda locust was not a Kenyan thing. It went through Egypt. Yeah. All those other places it passed, plus the same Uganda. So meaning Uganda's economy is better than us. Anyway, what I was trying to say,
it's not.
What I'm trying to say is, when we realize this is going to happen, the government would have done mitigation early enough. And we have a department of...
Who is we?
The government.
Oh, your government.
Oh, so you're part of the government.
So when the disease is with us, it's not the time you start building structure, hoping that patients will be there. Then when the disease came in and we were able to master it and get to put it on hold a bit, there's this word that came, now we can go back into our work. And some of the governors started doing what? Asking the medics who are in those areas.
But in all fairness, Eric, with a strange pandemic as this was, would you say government was totally unprepared?
They were unprepared. If they were prepared, why is it that when everything had just started, is when they are making these PPEs that are not wearable? I'm saying they are not wearable because they are not wearable. They knew this is coming, and this would bring Australia as the whole world. Prepare enough.
Oh, Eric.
Prepare things enough. Brother, let me tell you, do you know why?
Did they know it was coming?
Yes.
They knew.
This is a virus, brother.
Even the CS itself.
Even the CS. Let me ask you, when HIV was announced, wherever it was announced first, did we know HIV will reach Kenya?
No, we didn't.
Yes, it is a virus. How do you finish a virus?
Come on, we had Ebola that ravages nearby countries and it doesn't get to Kenya.
Yeah, because
it's also a virus.
If you do epidemiology, you'll understand why Ebola cannot come this side.
How many have done epidemiology?
Is the entire government epidemiologists?
That's why they have a department of disaster management and they have people to advise the government. Was the government advised that this thing is coming? They know. They knew it was coming.
In all fairness, and I want it to be probably fair, in the way the disease was strange, because I think first of all it came to Egypt, and then I think South Africa. Kenya was almost Egypt, the 4th, 5th country to be hit by, and this was a strange disease. I remember Minister Mutahi Kagwe even started giving briefings before we even had our first case. Would you say the government was totally unprepared?
I would say yes.
The medics have something against the government.
No. I say yes.
You're not a medic. We'll talk about lawyers and what you have for government.
Let me say yes. Why were they not prepared? One, that's why I said problem solving technique. You put things in ground, waiting for that. What did they put in ground?
Awareness.
They organize hospital for such an infectious department hospital away from other hospital? Did they put a structure?
Yes.
Okay.
We have governors who constructed ICU within 21 days.
Those who are constructed after Corona.
Yes, this guy, which English do you hear? So, did they put up before? No. Did they put up measures that if this disease comes,
Magadi was prepared?
Yes.
Before?
No.
It was prepared, Eric.
Magadi was prepared.
Which Kenya do you live in?
I know what I'm saying.
No,
I know what I'm saying. Why am I saying no? Bagadi, they prepared 100 bed.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
100
That's
bed.
true.
This is a virus coming. The first case when it lands to Kenya, I said a polio 1 case tells you is a pandemic.
What you should have
so
admitted,
now the first case comes to Kenya.
Bagadi was prepared before the first case came, but it was not adequate.
They were not prepared. So not adequate means they were not prepared.
We can't allow you to do that.
So wacha nimalize wewe unaongea sana na wewe unapewa time na hakuna mtu anakukata.
And I don't know what permission you have to allow who and who, because I'm one who is allowing people here to do. Go ahead.
So they were ill prepared. You cannot tell me a 47 million people, you make them 100 bed in Mbagathi, they come and clog there. That was wrong. So from there, did they prepare standby soldiers? Like now in our Kenya Defense Force, the standby soldiers are the administration police in terms of their training. If our soldiers wameumizwa sana, AP automatically becomes soldiers. If you know how our law is. Okay? Did they prepare standby soldier that disease ikikuja, wenye tumeemploy wakiumizwa, wenye wako private, tutachukua kadhaa private hospital, we turn them to government and we'll do this.
There was that point,
hold
on a minute. There was that point Maina Kamunya was making. We were coming from an economic recession. In fact, we have not recovered just yet.
We are at 109.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me 109 imekuja jana? We are going to 110 the dollar. So by the time, let me tell you, so we used all the money to fight locusts. Make me understand.
Even money we were being given by donors. We didn't even have money to fight
yes.
locusts.
So now I'm asking, this COVID came, how much money were we given by donors? And how did we use it?
Were we given before, were we given after the COVID?
I'm saying, how did we use it?
Tell us the truth.
So with the one we had, what did we do?
We didn't have, the government had,
in fact, we will drive that question later,
no money.
because Maina Kamunya, they can also be the question, yes, the money came even after Corona, what have we done?
What have we done with
That
it?
would be the question.
I think you have to
hold on,
see
so that you don't dissuade me from the conversation. Before you make your submissions, we were talking about Parliament until we went to locusts and stuff like that. And Maina Kamunya was making reference to Parliament, what they deserve and what they don't deserve. And I'm actually specific on the Ministry of Health. Are their hands tied? Up to when they went to even the depots or the warehouses of KEMSA, there has not been a report they have tabled in Parliament up until now. Other than what Sabina Chege said as a press conference outside the warehouses of KEMSA, there's no report in Parliament as regards to what is happening in KEMSA.
First, I would like to say that there's a possibility that the Ministry of Health, and there was a time during a press briefer when Mutahi Kagwe himself did say that we have strong mafias in the house
in the hill.
House in the hill. We have strong
House in the hill is
forces.
State House.
No,
not house in the hill.
Even that one, even Afi House is on
Afi
top
House.
of the hill.
No,
That was Afi
Uhuru
House.
Park is down here. It is up.
That was before.
that is literal.
That was Afi House. He did claim that we have people who are trying to derail efforts by the government to combat the virus, as in the pandemic. And that came after a few months. We did now come and hear about the COVID-19 billionaires. So we have people who literally waited for this thing to come, and the only thing they prepared to do, these are government officials, they prepared adequately to root and take advantage of the pandemic to enrich themselves.
We don't have evidence of that losing just yet.
But we have scandals after
money,
scandals.
So money walked. So money walked.
We don't know.
So money just got lost. So
Do you have evidence of money lost?
I would love to
We
get
have
this money
investigations,
that works,
ongoing.
and I hold
No,
the
the
money.
question is because because we don't have a Ministry of Health.
What he's saying, he's not quoting someone's name, but
Yes,
he said lost because money can't just walk. I would wish to meet that money for handshake.
What evidence do you have that money got lost?
We have investigations ongoing. We have
Ongoing, does it mean money is lost?
There's a possibility with what I'm seeing. There's a possibility money was lost.
Say that there's a possibility money was lost.
Yes.
All right.
Let us come back to how the question of how were we prepared to tackle this pandemic? No, we were not. We need to understand that the virus was with the world way back in 2019 around December. And in one of the presses, the CS for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, did say that we knew the virus was coming. It was only a matter of when, not if.
I remember those statements.
If the government knew this, what they needed to do is first to make sure that we had adequate isolation centers, to make sure that we have adequate health workers, because as we sit here today, we know that the patient-doctor ratio is a big mess in this country, and we continue losing them in the pandemic. So we are slowly sliding into deeper problems. The other thing is that having known all these things, we needed to know that, for example, we needed to borrow some things from the US that was already affected, and Wuhan in China, and know how are they tackling the issue. Wuhan back then was under lockdown. And we needed to know that the personnel that we are going to be actively involved in combating the virus were maybe the medics, we had the security personnel,
Yes.
who were supposed now to contain people to make sure that they are observing they are in containment, that is they are under lockdown. But what happened in Kenya in the first few days, doctors, we didn't have room for capacity building where we prepared our personnel. Medics didn't know what they were tackling. They didn't know. Two, our police officers, the first day when the president decided to lock down the country, you saw what happened in Mombasa. People were literally being beaten and being assembled in groups, which was against the guidelines of containment measures. You cannot beat people and have them in groups when the WHO is advocating for social distancing. So we were ill prepared, and that is why we are in this deep mess.
Let's escalate this question further and direct it to the defender of government in chief, Maina Kamunya. From where we are and the monies you have received, as it were right now, an MP goes to hospital, there's not even a bed, can't access oxygen, the MP dies. Yet the government had given money to county governments to actually ensure that they construct some of these hospitals
And have
or they
oxygen.
equip these hospitals. Even now, if you insist we were prepared then, are we prepared now?
Thank you, JJ. And I want to disagree with Eric. And I think the government was prepared because what I understand, what you do, the first thing that you realize there's something coming, you create awareness. And the government did that very well. I think the first time that disease was in China and people are dying. I remember that lady from the head of infectious disease in Kenyatta Hospital. That lady came to citizens so many times.
You're talking about Dr. Umbajo?
Dr. Umbajo, yes. I had that doctor so many times, even before we had the first case of COVID. I could see that lady in the television and she could explain to us what we need to prepare. It's our immunity, it's our whatever, all those things. So I think the government had prepared itself. Two, when it came to about the doctors, I think we had a unit of infectious diseases in the country. There are those who are doing research already, I understand. And they could tell us, you know what, we could expect a vaccine in 2 years or 1.5 years from there.
That came from where?
And we are talking, they were talking then when the disease was still in China. You get? By the time we are coming to have the first case of COVID, I think Kenyans had knew there was COVID in the world. You get the point? So people are prepared. And that's why I would attribute the creation of awareness to the first the first phase of the COVID. We were able to fight it so good that we didn't lose so many people.
Being aware is preparation.
It's a part of preparedness for the government, because if they just kept quiet from us, how do you have not known that there's COVID?
Okay.
So they created the awareness, then we give us as Kenyans, we prepared ourselves for it.
No, I agree. Awareness, here it is. Virus comes.
The second
we are
thing,
aware.
The second thing, because maybe my Eric and my brother here think that preparedness is about infrastructure. Maybe that's what they think, and capacity building. We saw them, I think in Kiambu by then, Tigonia level 5, Tigonia hospital.
Just Tigoni.
Tigoni. It was being finished by the governor here. You get the point? We had installation centers from Mango High School, the High School, JQuat here. You get the point? Those areas were set aside. That if you are caught with COVID, a installation center will be there. You get the point? You'll be taken there. So those things are prepared.
And government was charging.
Of course,
for taking you to isolation.
The reason why they were charging was to ensure that they buy you from engaging in activities that would bring COVID near to you. You get the point? The same, because when we
even the ones who had traveled, and it was not their fault that they were outside the country, they were also being charged.
How does COVID spread? When you go to, just a question, when you go to level of charging people who have just contracted COVID, can you answer me, how does COVID spread?
You see, let us agree, we were in a quagmire. Most Kenyans did not understand how to fight this virus or whatever.
I thought you said we were aware.
We are aware of the disease and how. You see, you are trivializing this discussion.
No, I thought you said
no. Kenyans, us as Kenyans, we are prepared. We have to do this, we do this, eat this, eat this, and this, and this, and this, as you prepare your immunity. You get the point. But when it comes to you are caught in a isolation center, who will cater for that isolation center? You expect the government to pay for you, all of us. You get. There's also who didn't have an NHIF, so the government was pay for them. That's what you are telling us. So we are saying this, the government did the best it could, and let us appreciate. Let us not be like Eric and my brother here. Let us appreciate what was done by then. I think I saw government, and even county government, building hospitals.
How many county government?
I think I saw 2.
Which one?
Makueni and Moranga. You get the point? They were able to build ICUs within 21 days. are they completed? Those
So how about the other 45?
I have not traveled to the first counties. So what I'm saying, I'm giving the fact of what I know. You get the point? So the government prepared. The second phase is so much with us because we flouted the rules. Most of us. You get the point? We didn't do what the government was expecting us to do.
I asked your question.
And now the burden is too big for the government to carry.
Do we have a second
Just a minute.
phase, really?
Just,
I asked your question.
You're
No, hold on a minute.
I'm not hitting him. I'm just asking a question.
we're in a second phase of the COVID.
Let me just ask. Is it that because government has said we are in second phase, now we buy it? I tend to disagree. We are not in the second
that's
phase.
what I say.
Hold on a minute. Let's presume we are in the second wave. Let's presume we are in the second wave.
We
you
are
can
not.
say you're not. The government has said we are in the second wave.
Okay, what was the first wave? So
you want us to
they
trust
should
you
have
more
told us.
No.
Let me now say what something. They should have told us the first wave was like this. Now the second wave is like this.
I hope they will tell us at some
We
point.
are not in the second. We are in the continuation of the first
let's
wave.
deal with what the government has said right now, which is
Let us
we are
blame
in
the
the second
government.
wave. You say we were prepared for the first wave.
Very well.
Second wave, are we
Very well.
prepared?
The worst that had happened in the second wave is that most of us, led by our politicians, flouted the rules. Now that the burden is too big to carry, the government is saying we may not be able to do this because of financial constraints. We may not be. You get the point. So, and what needs to be done? I think that's what my brothers would not agree here. Our economy is not doing so well, and they're telling us, you know what? Stop doing this and this. Don't allow Kenyans to go to work. Where will the money come from?
Then why are we
I
going,
said-
why are we going to
No.
referendum?
There's something.
Why are we going for referendum
There's
if our
something I want to
economy is
understand
not doing well?
before we lose track. There's something I want to understand from Maina Kamunya. You say you saw two counties construct facilities in 21 days.
Yes,
You talked about Makueni
and Moranga.
and Muranga, except for the one that was constructed within 21 days was Muranga, and it was not equipped until I think up to almost the 40th, 50th day. So these are the county governments, and money was channeled to them. What did they do with the money?
Yes, that should be the discussion now. No, yes, that should
that
be,
is the
just a minute. No, allow me to make my point.
But
That
the
should be the
government-
discussion because we should be asking ourselves. The government did. You see, you have come to my point, and I said,
What is
the
government?
government? The government did.
Probably we need to
No,
define
the
governments.
government did the best. The counties were given money.
Government.
They are governments too.
What is government?
The national government give
Yes,
the counties
the national
government. You get the point. So if your governor did not construct an ICU, if your county government did not prepare for isolation centers, why then do you blame the national government?
But they are county government.
Just a minute, allow me to make my point. I'm saying this, those governors who are able to take the COVID seriously and those who realized that it was rare, Moranga is prepared more than maybe most of the counties. Makueni the same, Kiambu the same. You get the point? But there are counties that even building an ICU
I
center.
don't know what
they
your
were
interest
not-
in the national government is. Right now, what policies are county governments implementing in terms of COVID?
Why is it?
Don't ask me a question. What policies are county governments implementing right now?
One.
Where did they come from?
One. Okay.
Where did they come
They come from the national government.
Thank
Okay.
you.
But then you say we cannot blame the national government.
You see, distinguish issues here.
Yes.
Because what you are saying about whatever policies, they may be in regard to COVID, right? But do they have the financial capacity, which is most important than the policies? Because what people are dying of is hospital bed and oxygen. But if we give you money, then about the policies, just do it as you wish. But ensure that the beds are prepared, whatever are prepared. But most of the country did not build the ICUs. So do you still bring that the national
No,
government? did not
let me
do the
ask
best?
you. The policy, the national policy on COVID is one, being implemented by counties across board, including some of the lockdowns that the president was doing. He didn't need to consult any governor. He just locked down a particular county. You're telling me the national government didn't have stop looking like you want to argue. You're telling me that the national government didn't have powers to follow these governors and ensure that they had constructed ICU facilities?
Recently, the CS was very clear, who represents the national government, that no one will be flown from a county to Nairobi because the expectation is we give you the money. What have you done with the money?
And I'm asking
just a minute.
Let me add. I'm adding something to your point.
No,
Adding.
Don't add.
I'm not removing.
Don't add. Let me finish. So, the CS said that just the other day that nobody will be flown from a county to Nairobi because the expectation is we give you the cash. What have you done with the cash? You get the point. So if you are not able to do the hospitals in your county, then why do you want another county to carry your
So
burden?
this blame stops right at the door of county governments.
In terms of infrastructure and preparedness, yes.
At the county government.
Yes.
Not the national government.
Yes.
I'm adding up something. Now this is how my argument about preparedness. The national government here brings in CT scans and MRIs from God knows where. There are 40 something of them, and each is supposed to go to any county. And each governor must take their MRI to their county.
You're talking about the medical leasing equipment deal?
Yes. Did the governors have radiologists? Did they have radiographers? Did they have a panel of people who will understand to read that and tabulate into patients management? Did they have physicians? Okay. For you to bring one MRI,
We give those guys from Cuba.
Just listen, please. For you to do, when you brought that one MRI, what goes up with one MRI as per management of a patient is around 7 staffs. 7 staffs. So now, my question was this. You brought one MRI. Did you construct where this MRI is going to be put? Did you bring a radiologist? How many radiologists do you have in Kenya so that you can have each radiologist in each county? Yes. So they were taken there. And there is a story that goes, some of these MRIs are non-functional even today. They are just there. Yes, they are there. They were taken, but they are not used. So was that good prepared? Listen, let me finishing. I'm bringing up an issue here of preparedness into some things. Was it important to do that? And was it healthy to a patient? That's what I'm saying. Some of these things we may overlook. As much as you're supporting the government, as much as I'm questioning the government's footings on some things, but my question was, when you brought those MRIs, did you put up infrastructure to receive it? And the question lastly go, the same way with COVID-19, money was given. For what?
And I think Eric, as we wind up, my producer, Mboga, will have to bring me a lie detector. I realize, what did you say the Cuban doctors had come to do?
I have not talked about Cuban doctors.
You
said that the Cuban doctors came to take care of MRIs.
I said, because of the government need and the interest of the Kenyans, they brought Cuban doctors
to do what?
To come and build the capacity with our doctors.
I don't want to talk about Cuban doctors because that is a long, difficult, and painful argument. Because Cuban doctors are another story which is painful.
It's okay. It may be a different story, it may be a different narrative. But the point is, those doctors came and they were building capacity with our doctors, true or false.
So what are they building? So what do they come to teach the Kenyan doctors? I'm just asking, what did they come to teach Kenyan doctors?
Wanjohi, make your point. We will leave this to
Oh man, Cuban doctors.
Very quickly, and it's your last moment. You're the one having the last moment. We wind up.
God bless.
Well, the two levels of government, that is the national government and the county government, have some interdependence. That is why we have the health committee in National Assembly, and we have health being devolved. So if only 2 or 3 counties were able to build ICU centers out of the 47, that will tell you that we were under prepared. So Kenyans, from the look of things, you're on your own. Keeping safe.
All right. Unfortunately, we don't have time to continue with this conversation. I thought we would speak about BBI. Look at how COVID
they are not
took all of our time. So very quickly, let me read some feedback. Tune from Dhika. What are we supposed to do regards Corona? It's becoming a nightmare. Next karaoke says, glad to see you guys. Brian Jenga tuned in. If the government really is serious, rendering NHIF card useless towards COVID-19. Masi Wamboi, the government has neglected its people during the Corona pandemic. Very unfortunate. Let me pick a few more before we wind up. Yes. No second wave, stop fooling us. Wazito, government has not even reached 1 million in testing COVID. There's also somebody who says kama daktari wanakosa pesa ya county ndo itatoka wapi, and then somebody says stop this ujinga BBI. I don't think obviously people are reacting differently to the BBI issue. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Anjohi, and thank you, Government Defender in Chief Maina Kamunya, for coming on. My name is John Jacob Curie. You'll have a fantastic weekend. See you Tuesday. God bless you.